Hello, how's it going? In today's video, I'm covering Banishment of the Frostwolves and the Horde Invades from Chronicle Volume 2. So let's go! By this point, a lot of the orcs had gone through the Dark Portal to Azeroth. However, not all of the clans had been permitted to join the invasion. If you remember from a previous video, some of the clans had gone a bit mental, and Warchief Blackhand had sent them away to live in Hellfire Peninsula where they wouldn't annoy anyone. Key clans that lost themselves to bloodlust were the Warsongs, Shattered Hand, and Bone Chewers. Blackhand had ordered them to remain on Draenor. He knew they'd be a liability, and the fact that they'd be stuck on a dying planet and would only hear stories of a lush new world would probably make them buck up their ideas and stop playing silly buggers. And if they remained uncontrollable, they could sod off and rot on Draenor for all he cared. But the Black Rocks, Blacktooth Grin, Bleeding Hollow, Burning Blade, Dragonmaw, and Twilight's Hammer clans all entered the Dark Portal, and also the Frostwolves. Durotan had continued to question Gul'dan's motives and the orcs' use of fell magic. He absolutely hated the Horde's leadership, but there was no future on Draenor, so he still led his people through the portal, because survival's more important than his integrity, I guess. Initially, the Frostwolves fought the humans alongside the Horde, but one night, Gul'dan secretly confronted Durotan and told him to piss off. They were no longer part of the Horde. He was sick and tired of their crap, and they needed to leave the Black Morass immediately. Durotan was like, "You what, mate?" But Gul'dan basically informed him that if his clan ever tried to come back, or contact any member of the Horde, he'd personally see to it that every male, female or child Frostwolf was bloody destroyed. Now Durotan wasn't a big fan of this, but he'd recently found out his mate, Draka, was pregnant, and he didn't want to put her or their unborn child at risk, nor did he want to push his luck. The only reason Gul'dan was letting him live was to avoid making a martyr out of him. So the Frostwolves struck out north. The journey wasn't a big barrel of laughs, the land was unfamiliar, and the humans treated every orc as their enemy. But there were elemental spirits on this planet, and they were strong. Discovering these spirits had startled the clan's elder shaman, Drakthar. He'd forgotten what it was like, and he bloody loved it. So he renounced his use of fell magic and asked the elements for help, and they did. They showed him a path to a remote frosty mountain range far to the north. It seemed very similar to Frostfire Ridge, so they immediately set out to find these mountains. Meanwhile, Warchief Blackhand had ordered raiding parties to set out north and west, deep into Stormwind's lands. There was no need to hide in secrecy anymore, and Blackhand wanted to provoke the humans. They were only small, what could they possibly do? The first assaults were meant to make the human populace crap their pants. Villages in Brightwood, Westfall and southern Redridge Mountains fell to the Horde. The inhabitants were either killed or forced to cheese it. By the time Stormwind patrols arrived to fend off the orcs, they'd already gone. As the leaders in Stormwind discussed strategy, King Lane made it clear there was no way that his father's approach would work. These orcs mean to conquer, so we're not just going to sit back and hope they calm down on their own. He named Lothar the King's Champion, which was the highest military rank in the kingdom, and then was like, "Right, off you go then, go and take care of the orcs." And Lothar was like, "Cheers, mate." Lothar decided to use the enemy's mobility against them. He'd noticed patterns in the way the Hawk struck its targets, so he placed large numbers of troops along the orcs' paths of retreat in order to ambush them. Command of these troops went to a loyal knight called Gavinrad the Dire. The orcs soon learned that they may have underestimated the humans a little bit. They possessed powers similar to the Draenor, although they used them in different ways. Their clerics would heal the wounded, whilst their magi would wreak havoc with arcane magic. And then there were the knights on horseback. They were bloody fast and bloody strong. This forced the orcs to adapt in ways they'd never had to before. Meanwhile, King Lane had dispatched messengers to the other kingdoms, warning them of the invaders and asking for help. Unfortunately, no one seemed to care. Most of them didn't even believe the reports. Lordaeron even received contrary information from a visiting noble, who claimed the war was actually a war of rebellion from disgruntled citizens. So they sent a polite response to King Lane that basically said, "Good luck with whatever you've got going on, but whatevs, mate." Stormwind had developed a reputation for isolationism, and had always been proud of its ability to stand on its own. Now, they had no bloody choice. And we're leaving it there! In the next Volume 2 video, the battles continue as the Horde run into some trolls, and hear old god whispers and stuff. As always, thanks very much to those of you who support the channel as patrons. Links in the description if anyone's interested in supporting the channel in that way. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, all of that bollocks, and all that's left to say is, thanks for watching, and see ya!